Hello aspirants and welcome again to Legacy IAS Academy. So we are continuing with our economic survey series wherein we'll see what the economic survey has said about the previous fiscal and what the budget has in store for that particular thing which the economic survey has talked about. So we'll start with we'll continue and we'll talk about the second chapter about the monetary and financial sector development. So let us see what the economic survey talks about with respect to the health of the monetary and the financial sector, and then at the end we'll see what the budget 25-26 has in store for this particular sector. So the very first thing is the money multiplier effect. The money multiplier effect has, if you can see, increase, which is a good sign. What is the money multiplier effect? See, if you introduce an additional 100 rupees in the market, it creates, when it is in the market, it can increase the demand by many fold. How? For an example, if 100 rupees you might have stored in the rice jar at your home and not utilized, not put it in the market, you have the savings but it is at home and not in the market, it is of no use for the economy and the value of money anyhow goes down. But the moment you make it enter the market, what happens is, let's say, not just with respect to fixed deposit, let's say that money entered the market just because you are buying something. So you bought 100 rupees worth of vegetables. So 100 rupees worth of demand was created. But when you gave this 100 rupees note to the vegetable vendor will use to buy, let's say, sweets. The sweets vendor will then use to buy, let's say, some shoe. The shoe vendor will then use to buy some clothes. The clothes vendor will then use to buy some books for their children or for anyone else. So what is happening? The same money is changing hands. When it is changing hands, it is creating demand after demand after demand. So it is sort of giving a multiplying effect to the economy. So a single 100 rupee can increase the demand many-fold. So that is the concept of the money multiplier, and that impact itself has increased. That means people are spending more and more and more frequently, which is a good sign for the economy. Right. So if you can see the trend starting from 22nd April 2022, so it starts from 2022 and goes up to 2024, December 2024, there is a continual improvement in or increase in the money multiplier effect. Now, if you look at the health of the banking sector, specifically the scheduled commercial banks, what are the scheduled commercial banks? They are commercial in nature, means therefore profit, and therefore profit, of course, at the same time scheduled. Scheduled means what? They are mentioned in the schedule of the RBI Act of 1934. They are of importance, that is why they are mentioned in schedule. The non-scheduled commercial banks will not be mentioned in the schedule of the RBI Act because they are small. Market capitalization is very less. This is the difference. So if you look at the health, you talk about the gross non-performing assets. So there has been a decline in it. You can see that in 2015, this, all the entire problem started, and this increases. Why? Not all of a sudden it is becoming NPS, but the RBI audit, etc., was finding out more and more NPS which were present. So there was an increase. It reached up to 11.2%. and slightly higher in private sector than in the government sector. But however, since then, since 2018, you can see a great decline in the gross non-performing assets. I hope that is clear. If you talk about the CRAR, the capital to risk weighted asset, so the capital, there might be a risk that the bank may carry, but the banks are having more and more capital to address the risk. The higher the CRAR, the better the health of the bank. So if you can see, there has been increase. Now it has sort of stabilized, but if you compare it with 2015, there has been a considerable increase. An increase of about 50% is present. Now moving on to the next slide, which again is related to the health only. It talks about the return on assets. So return on assets, which went down into the negative, has gone up and is way above its 2015 level, going up to 1.4%. When you talk about return on equity also was in negative in the similar time period, but again this is all positive and is dealing at 14.1. So return on asset is better, return on equity is better. So the banks are getting good return, means the banks are healthy. They are not sick, they are healthy, they are making profits as well. Now, coming on to the credit disbursal. So if you look at the credit disbursal, that is the bank credit. Again, the bank credit has gone up, not with that much amount, sort of stabilizes, but if you can see, there is no downfall. There is still, the growth may be very slight, but still there is a growth and not a decline. That means the people are taking more and more credit from the bank. The bank is giving more and more credit to the people. However, as I said, there is a growth, a quantitative growth, but the rate of growth, if you look at year on year growth in bank credit, that has jumped exponentially over here. Because why here? Because see what happened during the COVID period, it was at a very low level, so that is why it had to correct itself. So there is an exponential increase. After an exponential increase, it stabilizes. There is a bit of slowdown in the entire global market, so there is a sort of downfall, but it has overall consistently increased. So this, I think we do have to make it a bit better going forward. How can we do that? Again, remember, relate it with the policy rates. If the policy rate go down, more people would want that money. Now, if you look at the cross-country comparison with respect to the bank credit to private non-financial sector, you look at China. Bank credit to private financial sector as percentage of GDP. So China gives around 200%. India is not doing that great, but still India is more than Indonesia and Mexico, but we are quite less as compared to China. However, China is such a big economy and there are so many other issues over there. So a direct comparison when we do may not be justified, but still we still try to compete with the big players, and we are doing well with respect to some other countries, but still there is a long way to go to catch up here. Now, coming on to the market capitalization. Market capitalization for what? For the stock exchanges, for the share market which is there. So if you look at it, in the share market, the market capitalization in December 2019, market capitalization to nominal GDP ratio. So how much was the market capitalization upon nominal GDP? So it was 77%, means 0.77, that means 77%. So it was less than 1, it was less than 100%, but that has consistently increased and presently it is 136%. So it is 136%. Now it is a good number. The country that of course is ahead of India is United States at 213, but India has done quite well if you compare it with China, with United Kingdom also. In fact, United Kingdom has gone down from 106, but India is improving on this front. Then a very interesting and a good thing is growing SIPs. Growing SIPs, why it is important? You know, one economic survey way back in 2016 had talked about that India's savings are good. India has around 33% of savings. But the problem is a lot of this saving is in the household, not in the banking sector. But since the SIPs and other avenues of investment are growing, that means instead of people saving it at home in rice jars at their home, they are saving in the market, in the banks, in the financial market. Okay, so that is clearly reflected over here. So if you look at SIP, means systematic investment plan. So if you look at this, there has been a growth in the number of account, there has been a growth in contribution as well. So volume and value both are increasing as per this particular economic survey data. Now, so we have seen that the economic survey has showcased that India's banking sector is in a good health, the investment is increasing, improving, but we need to improve it further. So what all can be done? Since it's not that bad, you don't probably need direct objective quantitative infusion of money or liquidity as such, but certain qualitative measures can definitely improve it. So what does the budget talk about with respect to the monetary and financial sector? Our Honorable Finance Minister has said that it will come up with various reforms, light touched reforms. What is meant by light touch regulatory framework or reforms? It means you don't have to change much, you just have to give slight light touches, improve slightly, lightly, in order to boost the perceptions, in order to boost the sentiment of the people and the economy towards more and more investment and better growth. So it talked about a lot of light touch regulatory framework. For what? For improving the productivity, improving employment, And also it talked about decriminalizing more than 100 provisions which are there in different bills in India. So there are various provisions which criminalize certain activities. Criminalize means it punishes certain activities. It will be decriminalized. That means there won't be any punishment as such. So it will be based on trust between the public and the government, and a bill will be passed shortly or brought in shortly. Whether it gets passed or not, that's a secondary thing, but since the government has the majority, it will. But what it is saying is it will bring a bill which will be named as Jan Vishwas Bill 2.0. Vishwas means bharosa, trust. Jan means public. So this is basically Public Trust Bill 2.0. So this is a good qualitative measure, a measure which talks about the trust between the public and the government. Plus, it also talks about several financial sector reforms for ease of compliance. Compliance to be made easy. If you are worried about complying only, when will you do business? When will you have time to business? That is why ease of compliance. Plus, expanding the services that are presently available to the people. Build robust regulatory environment. Robust regulatory environment which is strong to punish the people who are doing wrong. At the same time, trustworthy for the people who are doing well and incentivize them. So carrot and stick method. Then promote international and domestic investment. How do you promote international and domestic investment? By international investment, you can promote by making full capital account convertibility, which is probably a distant dream. However, that is one possibility to, or ease other norms. You can increase the domestic investment also by making various clearances easier to get, various investments easier to make at your fingertips. And effective decriminalization of archaic means old legal provisions which already exist, we saw in the beginning. At the same time, it also talks about technological advancement. See, till the time human intervention is there, there will be a lot of issues, there is corruption, this, that. So the government is anyhow looking for the technological intervention in every sector, every domain, including the financial sector, and hence come up with an outlay or allocation of around 500 crore rupees for the financial sector in Artificial Intelligence Center of Excellence. So it wants to use artificial intelligence to further enhance the financial sector. Now, last but not the least, I think one of very good steps taken by the government, it has said that it will come up with state-wise investment friendliness index. Means it is going in 2025 itself. Means it is going to rank different states with respect to how friendly they are when it comes to investment. And this additional information will do what? Will attract people to states which are more friendly. At the same time, it will do what? It will actually incentivize states to make it easier and easier for investment, because there will be sort of a competition. So the more friendly you are, more attracted people will be to do investment in the particular state. So that will lead to competitive cooperative federalism, a competition, sort of a competition between the different states. At the same time, a synergy among the states as well. So it will come up with investment friendliness index. So as we can see, the budget has a lot of qualitative changes planned for the financial sector. So thank you so much for today. Stay tuned for chapter number 3 of the economic survey along with its budget allocations. Thank you.